Don't turn around.
Mara froze mid-step, breath caught halfway out, fingers still curled around the rusted latch of the back door.
You heard it too, she said.
I didn't say anything, came a voice behind her, low, unsure.
You just did. That wasn't me. Silence pressed in, thick and wrong.
The night carried no wind, no insects, no movement. Just that voice, still hanging between them like it refused to leave.
It said my name, Mara whispered. You're tired. It said my name. Then ignore it. I know that voice. Don't.
Mara turned slowly, eyes locking onto her younger sister, Lila, who stood barefoot in the dirt, arms wrapped tight around herself.
Tell me you didn't hear it, Mara said. I didn't hear anything clear. That's not what I asked. Lila swallowed. I heard something. What? A whisper. Saying what? Lila hesitated. It sounded like you. Mara shook her head once, sharp. No. It wasn't me. The barn door creaked open behind them. Neither of them touched it. Lila flinched. That's just the wind. There is no wind. Then the hinge is loose. It wasn't loose yesterday. They both stared at the dark opening, wide and waiting. The smell from inside drifted out, dry wood and something older, something buried in the grain. Mara, Lila said quietly, don't go out there. I'm not going in. You're already moving. Mara hadn't noticed. Her feet had carried her off the porch, slow and steady, like something inside her knew the path better than she did. Stop, Lila said. You can go back inside. I'm not leaving you. Then stay there. I won't. Then be quiet. The ground felt soft under Mara's boots, like it had been turned recently. She stopped halfway to the barn and looked down. This dirt was packed this morning, she said. You're imagining things. Am I? Lila didn't answer. The whisper came again. Mara. Both of them heard it this time. Clear. Close. Lila grabbed her arm. No. Mara pulled free. That's him. He's dead. I buried him. Then let him stay there. That's his voice. It can't be. Say it again, Mara called out, stepping closer. Say it again if it's you. The barn stayed still. The open door didn't move. The darkness inside didn't shift. See? Lila said quickly. Nothing's there. Mara took another step. Mara. It came softer this time, like it was dragged across something heavy. Lila's grip tightened again. We need to go back. You go. I'm not leaving you here with this. This is my husband. That's not him. You don't get to tell me that. I'm trying to keep you safe. From what? From whatever is pretending to be him. Mara stopped just a few feet from the barn door. The wood frame towered over her, worn and split, marked with years of storms and silence. You think I don't know his voice? Mara said. I think grief makes people hear things. This isn't grief. Then what is it? Mara didn't answer. She stepped up onto the threshold, boots scraping lightly against the wood. Don't go in, Lila said, voice breaking now. I'm not afraid. You should be. Of him? Of whatever's calling you. Mara leaned forward slightly, peering into the dark. Shapes began to form as her eyes adjusted. Old tools. Hanging chains. A beam across the ceiling. Say it again, she whispered. Nothing. Say my name. Still nothing. Behind her, Lila's voice dropped to a near whisper. It stopped. Mara nodded slowly. No. What do you mean? It's waiting. For what? For me to come inside. Then don't. Mara took one step forward into the barn. The wood groaned under her weight.
The air inside felt colder, tighter, like it pressed against her skin.
Mara, Lila said, almost pleading now. Mara didn't turn back. You can leave if you want, Mara said. I won't.
Then stay quiet.
Another step. The door behind her creaked louder, swinging a little wider as if welcoming her in. Mara!
The whisper came from deeper inside this time. She closed her eyes for a second. I'm here, she said. Lila shook her head slowly, fear written across her face.
This isn't right. Mara opened her eyes again, staring into the dark. I know, she said.
Then she stepped further into the barn. Mara stood just inside the barn, her breath shallow, eyes fixed on the dark ahead.
Say it again, she said. Nothing answered.
Behind her, Lila stepped onto the threshold, voice low and tight.
We should leave. Right now.
He was here, Mara said.
You don't know that.
I heard him.
You heard something.
Mara turned slightly, not enough to face her.
You heard it too.
I heard a whisper.
That doesn't mean it was him. It said my name. Lila swallowed. Lots of things can sound like that. Not like this. Silence stretched again.
The barn felt heavier now, like it had closed around them.
The faint sway of a chain near the far beam caught Mara's eye.
It moved slow, steady, though nothing touched it.
Look at that, she said. It's just hanging. It wasn't moving before. Maybe you didn't notice. Mara stepped closer to it. The wood creaked under her weight. Mara, stop. Someone was here. There's no one here. Then who opened the door? Lila didn't answer. Mara reached out and grabbed the chain. It went still the second her fingers closed around it. Cold. Too cold.
He was buried proper, Lila said quietly.
Mara froze. Don't say that like it settles anything. We watched them lower him. I know what I saw. Then trust it. Mara turned fully now, eyes sharp. Then explain that voice. I can't. Exactly. Lila shook her head. Not knowing doesn't make it him. Mara let go of the chain. It stayed still now. He wouldn't call me like that, she said. Then what was it? Mara hesitated. I don't know. Then we leave. No. Mara. No. Lila stepped closer, lowering her voice. This place, something's wrong with it tonight. Something's been wrong with it for a long time. What does that mean?
Mara looked past her, toward the far wall.
He spent time here. So what? So maybe he didn't leave all of it behind.
That's not how death works.
You sure? Yes. Mara held her gaze for a long second.
You sound real certain for someone who just heard a dead man speak.
Lila flinched. Don't say it like that. Why not? Because it makes it real. It is real. No, it isn't. Then walk in here and tell me that again. Lila didn't move.
Exactly, Mara said. A soft sound came from the back of the barn.
Not a voice this time. A shift. Something dragging lightly across wood. Both of them turned. Did you hear that? Lila whispered. Mara nodded.
That's not a voice, Lila said quickly.
That's something else. Mara took a step toward it. No. You said it yourself. It's something else. That's worse. Or it's the truth. You don't know that. I'm going to find out. Lila grabbed her arm again. You keep moving like this and you won't come back the same. Mara pulled free. I already didn't. Another sound. Closer now. A dull thud against wood. Mara. The whisper again. Weak. Strained. Lila's grip tightened on herself. That's not right.
That's not how he sounded. Mara's eyes filled, but her voice stayed steady.
It's him. It sounds broken. Then he's hurt. He's dead.
Then something hurt him before that. Lila stared at her.
What are you saying? Mara didn't answer.
She kept walking, slow, careful, toward the back of the barn. The air thickened the deeper she went. The smell changed.
Not just wood now. Something damp. Something old.
He didn't die right, Mara said.
You don't know that. They told us he fell.
He did fall.
From where?
Lila hesitated.
They said, near the ridge. Who said?
The sheriff.
Mara stopped.
The sheriff wasn't there, she said.
He came after. Exactly.
Lila's voice faltered.
What are you thinking? Mara turned her head slightly. I'm thinking someone told him what to say. That doesn't mean anything. It means everything.
The chain behind them creaked again, slow and soft, even though it hadn't moved since Mara touched it.
Lila looked back, panic rising. We need to go. Not yet. Mara, please. Not yet.
Another whisper, barely there.
Mara.
This time it sounded closer to the ground.
Mara dropped to her knees without thinking, hands pressing into the dirt floor. What are you doing? Lila said. Listen. I don't want to. Listen.
Lila shook her head, but the sound came again.
From below. A faint scrape. A breath.
He's under here, Mara said.
That's impossible. Is it?
We buried him in the ground, not in a barn. Mara ran her fingers through the dirt.
It was loose. Too loose.
This was packed, she said.
You said that outside. And I'm saying it again. Mara, stop digging. Someone's been here. That doesn't mean he is. Then what is? Lila had no answer. Mara dug a little deeper, nails catching on something hard beneath the dirt. Wood. She froze. What is it? Lila whispered. Mara brushed the dirt away slowly, revealing the edge of a plank.
Her voice dropped to almost nothing.
This isn't right. Lila stepped back. We're leaving. Not until I know. You're going to open that? Yes. No. Yes. Mara, don't. Mara ignored her.
She wedged her fingers under the edge and pulled.
The wood shifted slightly, a dull crack breaking the silence. Lila covered her mouth. Stop. Mara pulled harder. The plank lifted just enough to reveal darkness beneath. A breath came from below. Weak. Shallow. Mara. Lila stumbled back. No. No, no. Mara leaned closer, heart pounding. I'm here.
You shouldn't be, the voice whispered.
Tears slipped down Mara's face. What did they do to you? Silence answered. Then one last broken word. Stay, buried.
Mara stayed kneeling over the broken plank, her hands frozen in the dirt, waiting for the voice to return.
Nothing came. Behind her, Lila's breathing turned sharp and uneven. We're leaving. Now. Mara didn't move. It spoke again. That wasn't him. It answered me. It said 3 words. That's not an answer, that's fear. Mara pressed her fingers deeper into the soil around the plank. Help me pull it up. No. Mara. No.
The silence in the barn stretched, heavy and listening. Even the chains above felt still now, like they were holding their breath.
Mara pulled again. The plank shifted a little more, wood scraping against something underneath. Lila stepped forward, grabbed her shoulder. Stop digging into something you don't understand. I understand enough. You understand nothing. I understand he is under this.
He is not under a barn floor.
Then explain his voice. Lila shook her head fast. I can't. Exactly. A faint sound came again from below. Not a voice this time. A slow drag, like something turning over in dirt that wasn't meant to move. Both of them froze. Lila whispered, "Did you hear that?" Mara nodded once. "No," Lila said immediately, stepping back. "No, we're not doing this." Mara leaned closer to the gap. "I'm here." Nothing answered. Then, softer than before, the whisper came again. "Mara." Lila grabbed her arm hard. "That is not him." Mara didn't look at her. "He knows my name." "Lots of things know names. This one shouldn't."
A sudden gust of cold air slipped through the barn, though the doors hadn't moved. The chains above swayed slightly on their own. Lila turned sharply. "Something's wrong with this place. It's always been wrong. I mean worse than usual." Mara placed both hands on the plank again. "Help me." "No. I'm not asking twice." Lila hesitated. Fear and anger fought across her face. Then slowly, she knelt beside Mara. "This is a mistake," she said. "Then prove it." Mara pulled. Lila joined her reluctantly, fingers digging into the wood. Together they lifted. The plank gave way with a sharp crack. A hole opened beneath. Dark. Deep. The smell rose first. Wet soil. Old cloth. Something metallic underneath it all. Lila gagged. "No. No, no, no." Mara leaned closer. "There's something down there." "That's impossible. I can see fabric." "That's not." A sound came from the hole. Not a whisper this time. A breath. Lila backed away fast. "We're done. We're leaving." Mara didn't move. "He's here." "Mara, listen to me." "I am listening." "That is not your husband." A long silence followed. Then from below, clearer now, strained like it was pulled through something tight. "Don't look." Mara's eyes filled. "It's him." Lila grabbed her again, shaking her now. "No. No, it is not him. That voice is wrong." Mara pulled free. "You don't know what he sounded like when he was alone." "I know what death sounds like," Lila shot back. "And that is it." Mara leaned closer to the hole. "Who did this to you?" No answer. "Who put you here?" A pause. "Then, they said, it was an accident." Lila froze. "That's what the sheriff said." Mara turned slightly. "So why are you repeating it?" Lila shook her head. "Because that's what everyone was told." Mara whispered, "Everyone?" Lila hesitated. "Too long." Mara saw it immediately. "You knew more." "I didn't." "You knew something." "I didn't know this." "But you knew something." Lila's silence broke everything open. From the hole, a faint scraping sound returned. Like fingernails against wood or bone. Mara looked down again. "You're still there." A whisper answered, closer now. "Not all." Mara's voice cracked. "Not all what?" Lila stepped back, shaking. "We are leaving. Right now." Mara didn't listen. "What did they do?" The voice below struggled, words breaking apart. "Hands." "Who?" Mara demanded. "Badge." Lila went pale. Mara turned sharply. "What does that mean?" Lila whispered, "Stop asking it questions." Mara ignored her. "Say it clearly."
A long silence. Then, Sheriff.
The word landed like a gunshot in the quiet barn.
Lila backed away fully now. No. No, that's not.
Mara stood slowly, turning toward her sister.
You told me he fell. He did. From where?
Lila's voice broke slightly.
I don't know. Yes, you do. I don't. Mara stepped closer. You do. Lila shook her head. Mara, please. Tell me.
Another whisper rose from the hole, weaker now.
Almost fading. Don't trust. Then nothing. Silence swallowed the barn again. Mara turned back to the opening. Wait. No answer.
She dropped to her knees again, reaching down into the dark. Lila screamed, "Stop touching it!"
Mara's hand disappeared into the hole. Cold hit her instantly. Not just temperature. Something deeper. Like touching absence itself. Her fingers brushed something rough. Cloth. Then something tighter. Like a rope or binding. She pulled slightly. A faint sound came from below, not a voice this time. A sharp inhale.
Lila whispered behind her, broken now.
Mara, don't.
But Mara was already pulling harder. Mara's hand stayed inside the hole even as Lila grabbed her wrist, shaking hard.
Stop it. Lila shouted. Stop pulling whatever that is. Mara didn't answer. Her fingers tightened around the cloth-like shape below. Something resisted. Not heavy, but unwilling.
It's still here, Mara whispered.
Lila's voice cracked. It's not your husband. It's not him. Mara pulled again. The resistance shifted, then slipped.
Something inside the dark loosened just enough for her to feel edges, fabric, stiff and damp.
A sound rose up with it. Not a word this time. Just breath. Ragged. Broken. Mara froze. Did you hear that? She said.
I heard something I never wanted to hear, Lila replied.
Now stop.
Mara slowly withdrew her hand, staring at the dirt on her fingers like she didn't recognize it.
Then she stood.
I'm going to the sheriff, Mara said.
Lila grabbed her arm. No. No, you are not walking into that. He knows something. He knows everything about keeping people quiet. Then I'll make him speak. That's not how it works here. It will be tonight.
Lila stepped in front of her.
You go there, you don't come back the same. I already didn't come back the same when they buried him. Silence hit between them. Heavy. Honest.
Then Lila lowered her voice.
Mara, listen to me. That thing in the ground, it's not just him. Mara blinked slowly. What do you mean? Lila hesitated. Too long again.
That barn, she said, it's not empty.
It never was. Mara stared at her. You knew. I didn't know everything. You knew something. Lila looked away. People in this town don't ask questions about that place. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Mara stepped back toward the barn door, jaw tight. Then I'll ask the sheriff. Lila followed quickly. He won't tell you. He will if I make him. You can't force truth out of men like him. I can try. Lila grabbed her again, desperate now. Mara, please. He's not just a sheriff. He's connected. Connected to what? Lila swallowed hard. The families. The landowners. The old council. Mara's eyes narrowed. So they all knew. Lila didn't answer. That was answer enough. Mara nodded once. Then they all speak. She pulled free and walked out of the barn. The night air hit her face like a warning. Lila followed close behind. This is going to end badly. It already did. It can get worse. Mara didn't stop walking.
I buried my husband and still heard him speak. Lila went quiet for a moment, then said, "That wasn't speaking."
Mara turned slightly. "What was it then?" Lila shook her head. "I don't know."
They walked in silence across the yard toward the road. The sheriff's office was a dark shape in the distance, one light burning inside like a watchful eye.
Mara spoke again without looking back. "You ever been in that barn when it's empty?" Lila hesitated. "No." "Why not?"
"Because no one goes in there."
"That's not a reason." "It is here." Mara slowed. "Tell me why." Lila stopped walking. "Because things happened there." "What things?" Lila's voice dropped. "Things no one talks about." Mara turned fully now. "Try me." Lila shook her head. "I can't." Mara stepped closer. "You can." Lila's eyes filled with frustration and fear. "Mara, you don't understand what this town protects." "Then explain it."
"It protects itself."
"That's not an answer."
"It's the only truth you're going to get before they decide you're a problem."
Mara studied her. "They already did." Lila didn't respond. A distant dog bark broke the silence, then stopped abruptly. Mara turned toward the sheriff's office again. "I'm done asking nicely."
Lila grabbed her sleeve one last time. "If you go in there, don't expect him to be alone."
Mara paused. "What does that mean?"
Lila released her grip slowly. "It means the sheriff doesn't make decisions by himself."
Mara's voice went quiet. "Then I'll talk to whoever does." She started walking again.
The sheriff's office grew closer, the light inside brighter now, almost too steady for this hour. Lila followed at a distance, torn between stopping her and watching her go. Inside, movement flickered behind the window.
A chair shifted. A shadow stood. Mara reached the steps and stopped. "You still with me?" she called back. Lila didn't answer immediately. Then softly, "I don't know anymore." Mara nodded once and climbed the steps.
The door didn't creak when she pushed it open.
It felt like it had already been waiting.
Mara stepped inside the sheriff's office and the air changed immediately, like the room had been holding its breath for her. The lamp on the desk burned too steady, too clean, and the shadow behind it didn't match anything she could place.
The sheriff didn't stand up. He just looked at her. "You shouldn't be here," he said. Mara closed the door behind her. "You already know why I am. I know you're upset. I'm past upset." A pause. The kind that tries to turn into control.
Then the sheriff leaned back slightly.
"Go home, Mara." I dug into the ground. His eyes tightened for half a second. "That wasn't smart." "So it's true then? That you're disturbing things you don't understand? That there's something under that barn?" The sheriff exhaled slowly. "You've been alone too long with grief." Mara stepped forward. "Don't use that word like it explains everything. It explains more than you think." "No." Another voice came from the corner of the room. "Come. Older. You always were stubborn." Mara turned.
A second man sat in the shadows near the wall, half hidden behind the shelf of old files.
Lila was right. He wasn't alone. Mara looked back at the sheriff. "Who is that?" The sheriff didn't answer. The man in the corner spoke again. "You look like your mother when she used to ask questions she couldn't take back." Mara's jaw tightened. "Don't talk about my family." The man leaned forward slightly. His face finally came into the light.
Older, tired, familiar in a way that made her stomach drop.
"You don't remember me," he said. "But I remember you." Mara's voice went low. "I don't care who you are." The sheriff cut in quickly. "You're making this worse." I'm making it honest.
The older man stood slowly. There was no accident.
The room went still. Mara didn't blink. Say that again. The sheriff snapped, that's enough.
But the older man continued.
Your husband didn't fall. He was brought down. Mara stepped forward. By who? Silence answered first. Then the sheriff said, You don't want to know that. I already do.
The older man looked at the sheriff.
She deserves the truth. She deserves safety.
She lost that the moment they chose that barn.
Mara's head tilted slightly. Chose? The sheriff rubbed his forehead once, slow. Mara, some things are tied to this land. Old agreements. Old responsibilities. That's not an explanation. It's the only one that keeps you alive. Mara laughed once, sharp and empty. So my husband died because of agreements?
The older man spoke quietly. He was seen where he shouldn't have been.
Where?
The sheriff answered reluctantly.
The barn. Mara stared at him. He worked there. Not like that. Then like what?
The sheriff hesitated. That hesitation said more than words.
Mara stepped closer. You sent him there. No. You're lying. I didn't send him anywhere. But you knew what it was. The sheriff didn't answer. The older man did.
Everyone knows what it is.
Mara turned sharply. Then explain it. He shook his head. You don't explain it. You survive around it. Mara's voice dropped. I heard him in it.
The sheriff looked away.
That was enough. Mara pointed at him. You hear that? You hear what I just said?
I hear grief making patterns, the sheriff replied.
Don't do that. Do what?
Pretend I'm breaking.
A beat of silence.
Then the sheriff stood up fully.
Listen to me carefully.
What you heard in that barn is not your husband.
Mara stepped closer until there was no space between accusation and authority. Then what is it?
The sheriff's voice lowered.
Something that learned him. Mara went still.
The older man sighed. That place holds echoes.
It keeps what it's fed. Mara's breathing slowed. Federal.
The sheriff nodded once.
Over years. Mara's eyes hardened. What did you feed it?
No, the sheriff said quickly.
We didn't feed it anything. But the older man didn't agree.
That was worse.
Mara turned to him. You're not denying it. He looked tired now. I'm saying it wasn't simple.
Mara's voice sharpened.
Nothing ever is in this town.
The sheriff stepped forward.
Mara, you need to understand. No. You need to understand you're walking into something that doesn't forgive curiosity. Mara stared at him. It already took my husband. A silence broke after that line.
Even the lamp felt too loud. The sheriff softened slightly. He shouldn't have gone near it.
Mara whispered, but he did.
The older man nodded slowly.
And once it notices you, it doesn't forget. Mara looked between them. So that voice.
The sheriff interrupted. Is not him.
Mara shook her head once. It knew my name. The sheriff's expression tightened again.
That's what it does, he said quietly. Mara's voice cracked slightly but stayed firm.
Then what is it? No one answered immediately.
Finally, the older man said, memory stuck in wood. The sheriff shot him a warning look.
But Mara heard it. She stepped back slowly. You're not talking about him anymore.
The sheriff's voice dropped.
Mara, go home. She didn't move.
Outside, faintly, a sound drifted in through the window.
Not wind. Not animals. Something like a whisper trying to form itself into speech. Mara turned toward it.
The sheriff saw her face change.
Don't listen to it. Mara whispered, it's here.
The older man went still. The sheriff moved fast now.
Lock the door.
But it was too late.
The whisper pressed against the glass. Soft. Familiar. Mara.
She stepped toward it instinctively. The sheriff grabbed her arm.
Don't. She pulled free. It's calling me.
The older man backed away slightly.
It's getting stronger. Mara pressed her palm against the window.
Cold hit her skin immediately. From outside, the voice came clearer. Broken, but shaped like him.
Don't leave. Mara's eyes filled.
The sheriff said sharply, it doesn't stop once it starts.
Mara didn't look at him. Then I'll finish it. The sheriff's grip tightened again. You can't fight it. Mara turned her head slightly. I'm not fighting it. Then what are you doing? Mara looked back at the window. I'm going back to the barn. Mara left the sheriff's office without looking back.
The door shut behind her with a dull final sound, like something being sealed rather than closed. Lila was still outside, waiting on the edge of the steps, arms tight around herself.
What did they say to you? Lila asked immediately. Mara kept walking. They confirmed it. Confirmed what? That he didn't fall. Lila stopped moving for a second. Mara.
They said he was brought down.
Lila followed quickly again. That doesn't make sense. It makes too much sense here.
They walked in silence for a stretch, the dirt road stretching ahead like it didn't care what they learned tonight. The barn sat far behind them now, but it didn't feel further away.
Lila spoke again, quieter. You believe them? I don't know who to believe anymore. That's not an answer. It's the truth.
A wind picked up slightly, brushing the edges of the dry fields. Somewhere far off, a dog barked once and stopped like it had been cut off mid-thought.
Mara slowed. They said something else.
Lila looked at her carefully.
What? Mara hesitated. They said the barn keeps things. Lila frowned. Keeps what things? Mara didn't answer immediately. Then, echoes. Lila let out a short, nervous laugh. That sounds like their way of avoiding responsibility. Maybe. It is. Mara stopped walking. But it knew my name. Lila's expression tightened. Mara, please don't start believing. I didn't start anything. It started me.
They stood in the middle of the road now, the night pressing down around them. Lila lowered her voice.
What are you going to do? Mara looked back toward the direction of the barn. I'm going back. Lila shook her head immediately. No. I have to. You don't have to do anything. It spoke again. That doesn't mean you go back into it. It called me.
Lila stepped closer, voice breaking slightly.
It's not calling you. It's pulling you. Mara stared at her. Same thing. No. Not the same.
Mara's voice went quiet. They said he was still there in some way.
Lila froze slightly. That's not what they meant. Yes, it is. Lila shook her head. You're twisting it. I'm listening. A long silence followed. Then Lila said, if you go back there alone, you won't come out the same again. Mara didn't respond. Lila grabbed her hand. Promise me you won't go alone.
Mara looked at her hand.
Then at her face. I can't promise that, she said. Lila's grip tightened. Then I'm coming with you.
Mara pulled her hand free gently.
No. Yes. No. I'm not letting you walk into that alone. You already did once. That was different. It's never different when it's already happened.
Lila stepped back slightly, hurt flashing across her face.
You think I abandoned you?
I think you stayed too quiet.
That's not fair. Neither is any of this. Silence again.
The road felt longer now, even though they hadn't moved.
Lila spoke softer. What did they really say in there?
Mara looked at her. That he was seen where he shouldn't have been.
Where? Mara hesitated. They didn't say directly. Lila's voice dropped. But you think you know. Mara didn't answer. That was enough. Lila stepped closer again. Mara, listen to me. If this is about the barn, there are things you don't understand. Then explain them. I can't. Because you don't know or because you're afraid? Lila's silence answered both.
A faint sound drifted again across the field.
Not the wind. Something softer. Like a voice trying not to be heard. Mara turned slightly. It's following.
Lila shook her head quickly.
No. No, it's not. The whisper came again. Mara.
Both of them heard it clearly this time.
Lila backed away instinctively. We're not going back. Mara didn't move. It's already back with us.
Lila's voice turned sharp.
Stop saying that like it's real. It is real. It's not him. Mara looked at her. Then why does it know things only he knew? Lila hesitated. Mara stepped forward again toward the barn's direction. You didn't answer that. I don't have to. Yes, you do.
Lila's voice broke slightly.
Because I don't know how it knows anything. Mara nodded slowly. Then we go back. Lila shook her head hard. No. Mara's tone stayed steady. I'm going back. Lila grabbed her arm again, firmer this time. If you go, I'm telling you what I know. Mara stopped. Slowly turned. You've been holding something. Lila swallowed. Mara stepped closer. Tell me. Lila's eyes filled with frustration and fear.
The barn wasn't just storage.
Mara didn't blink.
Lila continued, voice low now.
Years ago, things happened there people stopped talking about. What things? Lila hesitated. Disappearances. Mara went still. Lila rushed on quickly. Not like murder. Not like anything clean. People went in. Some didn't come out right. Some didn't come out at all. Mara whispered, and he went in. Lila nodded slowly. Yes. Mara closed her eyes for a moment.
When she opened them again, they were steadier than before. So that voice, she said quietly, is what's left.
Lila didn't correct her. That was the worst answer she could have given. Mara turned back toward the dark road leading to the barn. Lila whispered, Mara. Mara didn't stop walking this time.
And behind them, faint but certain, the whisper followed again.
Mara reached the sheriff's office again just as the lamp inside flickered once, like it recognized her before anyone did. She didn't knock. She didn't hesitate. She pushed the door open and stepped in with Lila right behind her, breath tight, eyes already scanning the room like it might change shape. The sheriff was standing this time. Not sitting. Waiting. I told you to go home, he said. Mara closed the door behind them. I came back. I can see that. You left something out. The sheriff's jaw tightened slightly. No. You did. A second man stood near the shelf again, the older one from before. He didn't speak immediately. Just watched. Lila shifted uneasily. We shouldn't be here. Mara didn't look at her. We're here now. The sheriff stepped forward. This doesn't help anyone. It helps me, Mara said. The older man sighed. She deserves clarity. The sheriff shot him a warning look. Don't start. Mara pointed between them. You both know more than you're saying. The sheriff exhaled slowly. What do you want from us? The truth. The truth won't comfort you. I didn't ask for comfort. A silence settled. The lamp buzzed faintly overhead. Then Lila spoke quietly. They said he was brought down. The sheriff looked at her sharply. Mara turned slightly. You told her? Lila shook her head. She told me. The sheriff rubbed his forehead. This is getting out of control. Mara stepped forward. Start controlling it then. The older man spoke softly. It's already past control. Mara's eyes locked on him. Explain that. He hesitated. There are things tied to this land that don't respond to law. Mara's voice sharpened. Don't talk in riddles. I'm not. Then speak clearly. He looked at the sheriff before answering. Some places hold what people put into them. Mara frowned. That doesn't mean anything. It does here. The sheriff cut in quickly. Enough. Mara turned on him. No. Not enough. Not even close. The sheriff's voice lowered. You went into the barn. Yes. You shouldn't have. I found something. The sheriff went still. Lila stepped forward slightly. We found something under it. The sheriff's expression changed for the first time. Not surprise. Fear. Controlled, but real. The older man closed his eyes briefly. You opened it. Mara nodded once. Something was underneath. The sheriff shook his head slowly. You shouldn't have touched that. Mara stepped closer. Tell me what it is. The sheriff didn't answer immediately. Lila whispered, Mara. Mara didn't look at her. Tell me. The sheriff finally spoke. It's not a grave. Mara blinked. Then what is it? The older man answered this time. It's a hold. Mara frowned. A hold for what? Silence. Then the sheriff said quietly, for what doesn't stay gone properly. Mara went still. Lila shook her head slightly. That doesn't make sense. The sheriff looked at her. It doesn't have to make sense to you. Mara's voice dropped. It was speaking. The sheriff didn't deny it. That silence hit harder than any answer. Mara stepped forward again. So it is him. The sheriff shook his head quickly. No. You just admitted. I admitted nothing about him. The older man spoke carefully. What's down there remembers patterns. It mimics what's strongest in the memory. Mara's eyes narrowed. So it copies him. It uses him, the sheriff corrected. Lila whispered, that's worse. Mara turned sharply. Uses him for what? The sheriff didn't answer. Mara stepped closer until she was almost in his space. For what? The sheriff's voice dropped. For pulling people back in. Silence. Mara stared at him. Back in where? The sheriff hesitated. The older man finished it quietly. The barn isn't just wood. Mara's breath slowed. Lila stepped back slightly. Stop saying that. The sheriff continued anyway. It holds what gets left behind. Mara shook her head. That's not possible. The sheriff looked at her directly. You heard it. Mara didn't answer. That was enough. The sheriff spoke softer now. If you keep listening to it, it will build him for you. Mara whispered, build him. Piece by piece, the older man said. Lila's voice cracked. That's not him then. The sheriff nodded once. No. Mara turned slowly. Then what happens to what's left of him? Silence again. The sheriff finally said, "It fades into it."
Mara's eyes filled slightly, but her voice stayed steady.
And if I bring him out? The sheriff shook his head. You can't. You don't know that. I do. Mara stepped back slowly. You've done this before. The sheriff didn't answer fast enough. Mara saw it. Her voice dropped. How many? The sheriff looked away. Lila whispered, "Mara, stop." Mara turned on her. You knew this. I knew rumors. This is not rumors.
The older man spoke quietly.
It's history. Mara shook her head once. No. It's crimes.
The sheriff snapped slightly.
You don't understand the cost of telling people what that place is. Mara stepped forward again. Try me. Silence pressed down.
Then the sheriff said, "People panic.
People dig. People go missing." Mara stared at him. Because of you.
Because of what it is.
That's not an answer. It's survival. Mara's voice turned cold. No. It's hiding. The sheriff didn't respond. Lila looked between them, shaking. We should leave. Mara didn't move. The whisper came faintly again, outside the window. Mara.
She turned her head slightly. The sheriff saw it immediately.
Don't listen. Mara whispered, "It's getting louder." The older man looked at the window. It's learning the surface now. Lila backed away toward the door. I don't like that. The sheriff moved quickly now. No one goes back to that barn tonight. Mara looked at him. I am. The sheriff shook his head. Not alone. Mara's voice stayed steady. I don't need permission. The sheriff stepped forward. You don't understand what happens if you open it fully. Mara held his gaze. Then show me. A long silence followed. Then the sheriff said quietly, "If you open it all the way, it stops being him." Mara didn't blink. "It becomes what's underneath," he added. The whisper outside grew slightly louder. Not calling anymore. Waiting. Mara stood outside the sheriff's office long after the door closed behind her, like she was waiting for the building itself to change its mind. Lila stayed a few steps back, arms tight around herself, watching her sister like she might disappear if she blinked too long. They want you afraid, Lila said softly. Mara didn't look at her. They are afraid. That's not the same thing. It is here. A wind moved through the street, dry and restless. The whisper wasn't there yet, but both of them acted like it might arrive at any second anyway. Lila stepped closer. You heard what they said. About opening it fully. About it becoming worse. Mara finally turned her head slightly. It's already worse. Lila shook her head. There's still a line you don't cross. I crossed it when I dug him up. You didn't dig him up. I dug into what's left of him. Lila flinched at that. Don't talk like that. Mara's voice stayed flat. Then don't follow me. I'm already here. A long silence stretched between them. Then Mara looked back toward the barn in the distance. A dark shape against darker land. I'm ending it, she said. Lila's voice cracked slightly. How? Mara didn't answer right away. Then, by burning it. Lila froze. No.